Hello Pirate Nation and welcome to Hall Talk. As the students of the university are preparing for finals week, all the athletes from both the women's and men's basketball teams and the volleyball team as well are enjoying very successful seasons. We're going to be covering all that and more here on Hall Talk. I'm George Balekji, your host.
This team needs to show me something for me to believe that they're going to make a run in the tournament.
I think they can have a chance of going over 35 wins without a problem.
Just stepping up from the 4 points to the 17. She's just dropping threes like there's no tomorrow.
But chemistry is an underrated key in college basketball.
That was by far the best game I've seen them play.
This is Hall Talk, and that's how the chalk talks. Welcome back. I'm George Balekji, and today I'm joined alongside Aaron Ross and Anthony Paolo. Aaron, how are you doing today?
I'm pumped to be here, George. Love being with you every show, man.
And Anthony, first time on the show.
I'm really excited, George, and I'm glad to be on the set with you guys. So let's get right into it.
And of course, getting right into it is women's volleyball. First time ever going into the big dance. They defeated Marquette semifinal round of the Big East tournament, lost to Creighton, and they were really on the bubble there. They were one of the last teams selected to get in, and I think it was really good for the Manthorpe twins. At their senior year, first time to finally experience that playoff atmosphere of the big dance.
I mean, deservingly so. They've been working so hard for it. This year especially, after they had a 12-game win streak, a 9-game win streak. They go into Milwaukee and beat Marquette on their home floor on national television. That just says it all right there. They're leading the team away. They deserve the big dance, man.
And here you have two sisters that have been playing volleyball alongside each other their entire lives. And just even though they may have not gone far into the NCAA tournament, the fact that they got there in their senior year is still a great way to finish off their volleyball careers, at least at the end of their Seton Hall career.
And definitely not take away from BYU. Whitney Young, Amy Boswell, two top blockers in the nation, were on the front line for that team. And when you look ahead to it, they were just too much for the Pirates. But I think, one thing for those students, those athletes, that they just got to go in and just soak it up and really enjoy the moment.
I mean, yeah, exactly. Just anytime you make it to the NCAA tournament, it's huge. The atmosphere there, I mean, they traveled all the way to Arizona. You got to feel like a big deal when you get there. Because, I mean, I've gone to some NCAA basketball tournaments, first round, Sweet 16, and you just see the students, the players, they are excited. It is a good time there. Even if you lose, they are just pumped to be there. The fact of being in the NCAA tournament is something else.
And not to take away from the achievements of BYU, they will be taking on the winner of number 11 Arizona and Yale in the second round Friday night at 7:30, of course, playing on their own campus in Tucson, Arizona. We'll be right back with men's and women's basketball right after this quick break. All right, so you got about a 6-foot putt here. The wind's breaking a little bit to the left, but don't put too much mustard on it or else you'll end up in the sand trap.
We got to avoid the drink on the left there, too.
Yeah, don't worry. You got this. Just stay accurate, straightforward. The wind won't get in your way too much.
See what we got.
Yes, sir.
It's been an honor.
Absolute pleasure.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, boys.
Welcome back, and as you all know, the men's basketball team is off to their hottest start in the Kevin Willard regime. Of course, earlier the week before their Thanksgiving break, they traveled over to St. Thomas for the Paradise Jam, where they swept, went 3-0, and the first time they won an 8-team tournament since 1988. Guys, of course, you always know, anytime we could reference 1988 at Seton Hall with men's basketball, brings back some good memories.
Phenomenal memories, I'll tell you that.
Back in the PJ Carlissimo era.
Of course, and as you see, one of the sure sights was, the only thing that was more consistent than the weather in St. Thomas was Sterling Gibbs' scoring. Of course, scoring 15, 16, and finally 40 in the final game, a new career high. Also, what fans like to see, there was an emergence and finally the awakening of Isaiah Whitehead with his 16 points against Illinois State. It was his first of 3 straight double-digit scoring games. What did you guys see out of Isaiah Whitehead along with Sterling Gibbs in the tournament?
I'll tell you, out of Isaiah Whitehead, not just the emergence of his scoring, but he's out there dishing the ball around. He's getting assists. I want to say he's averaging close to 6 assists a game now. So it's not just that he can score, which obviously we all know. He's got a great shot. It was only a matter of time. But he can dish the ball off to any player, because that's how obviously Sterling getting a career-high 40 points. That is ridiculous. And then, yeah, Isaiah Whitehead, he can pass, he can shoot. He's out there doing everything. Taking a charge, too, in games. On the defensive end, he's doing it all.
taking a look at Isaiah Whitehead, early in the season before they went to the Paradise Jam, he seemed to have done too much or tried to do too much. In that game against Caldwell, 3 for 12 from field goals, and it was just abysmal shooting for him. But then he was able to just relax, play his game, and he was then able to start making the baskets, and he started getting the points. Sterling Gibbs, like you guys said, was able to rise to the occasion in that third game, scoring 40 points. And Gibbs has just been flat out impressive. We've seen it last year, and he's just carried it over. And coming into the tougher games with Rutgers coming up and then Wichita State, we're going to need him.
I think really what you see is also Isaiah Whitehead really coming into himself and finding his comfort zone in that 3-guard set. Of course, the starting 5 as it is always features Gibbs, Cena, and Whitehead.
Love it.
So what you have there is Isaiah Whitehead obviously getting off to a hot start, and with Sterling Gibbs, the way he was shooting, when he does shoot lights out, it opens up shots for everyone around him. But another player I like to look into was Angel Delgado. I think a big part was you see how he responded from his game against Freddie Lynch of Illinois State. Freddie Lynch was 6'10". Angel Delgado, just 1 point and 7 rebounds. Every time you see him grab the ball, he kind of just got into himself. He was in his own head and wasn't getting comfortable. Then you see him respond 6'10" against Kevin Larson. He had a 10-10 game. And the other night against Mount St. Mary's, he was just 1 rebound shy of another double-double. Angel Delgado, at 6'9" and a freshman, this team is young as they come, but he's really playing like a veteran.
He's out there playing as if he is a junior or senior in collegiate basketball. If you come in, I mean, he's close to averaging a double-double now. He's averaging 9, almost 10 rebounds, 8 or 9 points a game. He just had that one game, it was a little the guy was roughing him up a little bit. But Delgado, you see him on the floor. He's out there, he's talking, using his mouth and whatnot. He's getting in people's heads. He's acting like a big boy out there, and that's what you need to do down low. You get the boards, body him out. He's doing his thing, and I like watching it. It gets me pumped up, fired up. I love watching him play.
I'll bring up the Caldwell game again because Delgado was another kid who struggled, especially down low in the paint. You could tell that he didn't want to get too many fouls. So I think that after that game, Brandon Mobley went up to him and said, hey, just pretend that you're playing as if you're still in the Dominican Republic. I think he took it to heart because also in the Paradise Jam, he was able to regain his composure. And referring back to that Mount St. Mary's game, just 1 rebound shy of the double-double. And he's also, like Whitehead, coming into form.
And another freshman to bring up, of course, Kadeem Carrington, starting off in the tournament, 11 points off the bench. You see the other night against Mount St. Mary's, 16 points and a rim-rattling dunk, of course. This team, they have the depth of the bench like no other team in the nation. You really see, especially throughout the Big East. And I think right now, 6-0, it's just a testament of their veteran leadership from Brandon Mobley and Sterling Gibbs all the way down to Kadeem Carrington, Isaiah Whitehead, and company. They're all playing together, all playing basketball with one another, and they're really a team unified. Have you ever seen chemistry through any team like this?
I mean, they're freshmen out there. You're playing like 6 freshmen. They're all basically juniors or seniors on this floor. Kadeem Carrington, you'd think he was a starter the way he played the other night. Coming out there, he picks this guy's pocket out there, and he slammed that thing home. That thing, I mean, I thought could have been on SportsCenter, to be honest. But the chemistry is incredible for such a young team. Because, I mean, the leadership from Brandon Mobley, obviously he's gotten into foul trouble 1 or 2 games, so he didn't even really play in like the second round of the Paradise Jam. But you got Sterling Gibbs playing around, and they are really getting it. The team is gelling perfectly, if you ask me.
He actually had 2 dunks. He had the left-hand dunk, and he had the 2-hand slam. But Carrington proved that this recruiting class goes much deeper than just Whitehead and Delgado. Carrington was able to drop 16 points, and it just shows that they're really developing an identity, that these freshmen, for more or less, are living up to the hype. My only concern is that with the exception of that game against Nevada, they haven't faced too much adversity. So I think once they face these tougher teams, I don't know if you can say that about Rutgers, but certainly Wichita State, I think that they'll start to show their true colors.
Now, of course, you are looking ahead. We bring up Rutgers. It'll be the first matchup for Rutgers, them being in the Big Ten. And, of course, is the tip-off for Seton Hall. And will be an annual Big East, Big Ten matchup all the way through 2020. And, of course, also be deemed the Garden State Hardwood Classic. We saw the trophy was unveiled in Edison, New Jersey a few days ago. And, it's one great thing I noticed about the trophy is that the wood it's made out of is from the Asbury Park Boardwalk. What are you guys looking forward into Rutgers? They have the big guard playing Miles Mack and Kadeem Jack also to complement him. It's going to be good matchups for Sterling Gibbs and Angel Delgado once again.
Yeah, I'll go into Kadeem Jack. He's 6'9", 235, basically identical to Angel Delgado. And he's a redshirt senior. That's the other thing. So obviously he has all that veteran leadership. He's got experience out there. He led the team in their loss to Virginia, who was number 7 or 8 in the country in the Barclays Classic. They lost 45-26, but he led the team in scoring that day with 8. He's out there averaging almost 9 rebounds. He's scoring, stealing. I think Delgado might have his hands full, but I think Delgado might be able to get in his head. He's going to be able to play.
You also have Miles Mack, and he's one of the more impressive players out there, leading the team with 14 points per game. He also has an average of 36 minutes per game, so expect him to be on the court a lot. He also has 5 assists per game and 3.3 steals per game, so you know that Mack will be playing well on both sides of the court.
Of course, that is a big matchup to see between Jack and Delgado. Delgado, the leading rebounder in the Big East, and as is every week for him, he is always taking on a very experienced leader. So now we transition over to women's basketball. Yep. Coming off a Shoe Thanksgiving Classic Championship, repeating from last season, and you see what they've been able to accomplish so far with Daisha Simmons, Kadidi Simmons, and Tabitha Richardson-Smith, and then also Janie Johnson's also finding her touch from the three-point range as well. This team is just as complete as the men's team, and both teams are having a lot of success.
Yeah, I mean, you see the men, they're 6-0, the women, they're 6-1, but that one loss came to a ranked team. Even after a loss, it started getting them votes in the AP poll. They're out there. Janae Johnson looks like a whole new player. Last night against Creighton, she's out knocking down threes. She was 4 for 4 at one point. I was like, I didn't even know. I was texting my friends, people in the athletics office. I didn't know what was happening. I was like, since when did she knock down threes? This is crazy. And Daisha Simmons just has come in. It's like, as Bozzella told us early in the year, he was struggling to find out where she might play. And now the last 3 games, she's led the team in scoring. She's stealing the ball, pickpocketing every single player, and just getting easy baskets, and she's making free throws too.
Last year, Janae Johnson seemed like a one-dimensional player, only tried to work down low and get the layups, and even then she was struggling. Now she took her game back a little bit, taking shots from further out, and it's been paying off for her. And it makes her so much more of a dynamic player. That way she can either take that three-point shot or go in and go for the layup. That way it makes her unpredictable. And then going back to Khadijah Simmons as well as Daisha Simmons, I called the game at the Thanksgiving Classic, and one thing I noticed is that they work very well defensively. Coach Bozzella will have them up on the full court press, and they'll intercept passes, and they'll get a quick transition attack and get easy layups.
And right you are there talking about Dee Simmons' defense along with Daisha. Daisha, of course, through 3 games, starting with 30 points against St. Peter. She has 88 points total. So there's no scoring fall between those 3. And, of course, they have 3 of the top 10 scorers in the Big East for women's basketball, and Daisha, Dee, and Tabitha. Looking ahead, they come off the 79-74 win at Creighton in Omaha. That was, I think, a great job by athletics to put their Big East opener aside from the regular season. Really makes it more special for this women's team. And you see what Dee Simmons did on Marisa Janning, who is the preseason Big East Player of the Year. Dee wants that title herself. So does Daisha and Tab. So they'll have to watch out, holding her to 12-13. You look ahead to Fordham. This is the 3rd conference champion they are facing this season, the previous 2 being Penn State and West Virginia. Fordham may not seem like a very formidable foe, but what do you guys expect in this game?
See, I think they can't take them lightly. You can't sleep on any team. Fordham, they can come out to play. Clearly, they're winning their conference championship the last 3 years. They can't be like a pushover. Their team, they need to come out. But I mean, we have 4 players on this team averaging double-digit points. So, like you said, no shortage of points. I don't think they should have a problem. And their defense with the guards, even Tabitha Richardson, they're basically 3 guards, just like the men. They swarm. They're out there, cross-court pass in this crazy zone. One team, they're on this side, guard on this side, and they cut them off right in the middle. Daisha Simmons is gone. Tabitha Richardson-Smith, gone. Deidre Simmons, gone.
Aaron, you took the words right out of my mouth. Creighton's a tough Big East opponent, and now coming up against a non-conference opponent again. Usually those games are tough when you go from a conference game and then back to an out-of-conference game. And the whole key is just for the Pirates to not let their guard down, and some people like to call it a trap game. And I think that as long as the Pirates play their game, quick transition, as I mentioned before, with the full court press, and you were talking about it too, especially with Tabitha Richardson-Smith joining in on the attack, then they will be able to get those baskets on the transition attack and just be able to beat Fordham.
Of course,
they're very active players.
And Fordham will be looking to slow them down. 15th best scoring defense in the nation. Oof. Well, let's hope that the women's basketball team comes out on top and improve their record to 7-1, along with the men's team improving to 7-0. Thank you very much, guys.
Always a pleasure.
Now, to take a step away from all the early success both our women's and men's programs are achieving on the court, we'd also like to take a moment for what they are accomplishing off the court. This month, both the women's and men's basketball teams will be hosting a Team Walker Toy Drive event for local youth this season. The Team Walker is a nonprofit organization formed by former Seton Hall great Jerry Walker. For the women's team, they will hold the Team Walker Toy Drive on Sunday, December 7th at 2 p.m. in the Walsh Gymnasium main lobby, when they take on Lafayette. For the men, they will be hosting their collection the following Sunday on December 14th at 12 p.m. at Prudential Center main concourse, when they host St. Peter's. Athletics encourages fans to bring unwrapped toys to both games, and if you cannot make either game, toys can be mailed to Team Walker at 316 Common Paul Avenue in Jersey City. I'm George Balekji from Hall Talk. Thank you very much for joining us.